You all must have heard so much about weapons of mass destruction. The fact is that 9 out of 10 war victims are killed by guns. You'll be surprised to know that AK-47 is considered a weapon of mass destruction. Conceived as an intermediate rifle for Soviet foot soldiers, the AK became the prototype of the modern assault rifle. Like a sophisticated chronograph or a Ferrari V12, a fine rifle has the same superbly crafted elegance, purity, and proportioned lines. The metalwork is burnished, blued, polished, and molded to perfection, and every detail is sharp and beautifully formed. So, let's look into how this weapon was invented and its history. Without further ado, let's begin. Perhaps the first thing that comes to mind is the atomic bomb, which was detonated in the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, killing an estimated 200,000 people. However, another weapon is responsible for much more death, possibly in the millions. Assault rifle, also known as the AK-47, is the weapon in question. To date, an estimated 100 million AK-47s and variants have been created, originally developed in secret for the Soviet military. This weapon can now be found worldwide, including in the hands of many Americans who purchased as many AK-47s as the Russian police and military did in 2012. You can even ask doctors. They'll give you a first-hand review of what this gun can do to human flesh. AK-47, also called Kalashnikov Model 1947 Soviet assault rifle, possibly the most widely used shoulder weapon globally. The initials AK represent Automat Kalashnikova, Russian for Automatic Kalashnikov, for its designer Mikhail Timofeyevich Kalashnikov, who designed the accepted version of the weapon in 1947. It was said that the legend admired weapons made by Nazis. The history of this gun can be best relayed by C.J. Chivers, who wrote a book by the name The Gun. It covered all aspects of how this gun changed the world. He was the Times' Moscow correspondent from June 2004 to mid-2008, covering wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Chechnya. From 1988 through 1994, he served in the United States Marine Corps as an infantry officer. He shared a Pulitzer Prize in 2009 for his dispatches from Afghanistan and Pakistan, and he got the Livingston Award for International Journalism for his coverage of the collapse of commercial fishing in the North Atlantic. So, let's talk about the gun's history. After 5 years of engineering, the former agricultural engineer created his legendary weapon that carries his name. Kalashnikov, who was born on November 10, 1919, served in the Soviet military as a tank technician during World War II. During the invasion of the Soviet Union by the Germans in 1941, he was injured. Kalashnikov chose to design a stronger rifle after witnessing firsthand the battle advantage offered by Germany's superior weaponry. While still in the service, he developed numerous designs later abandoned in favor of the AK-47. The gun was based on various other designs at the time, the most famous of which was Germany's Sturmgewehr 44. The Sturmgewehr, sometimes known as the STG-44, was the first true mid-range infantry rifle. It could fire a hefty round, but it could still discharge a lot of bullets. The AK-47 was created for the same purpose. The new Soviet government developed 3 large arms plants in the 1920s as it attempted to modernize the old Tsar's army in the aftermath of the revolution. These advanced plants would eventually produce the AK-47 assault rifle, the world's most famous weapon. There are an estimated 80 million of these rifles in use worldwide, making it the most widely used weapon since 1947, killing more people than nuclear weapons. It's as well known as the Coca-Cola bottle, the Rubik's Cube, Sony Walkman, or Apple iPhone. Furthermore, the AK-47 may be divided into 3 eras according to journalist Michael Hodges: the Soviet Union's expansion in Eastern Europe in the 1950s, Third World uprisings in the 1960s and 1970s, and, after 2001, its affiliation with Osama bin Laden and the wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, and Syria. As a result, it is shown as a weapon of criminals and terrorists in Western media, but in other areas of the world, it is portrayed as a weapon of freedom and is even depicted on Mozambique's national flag. It is to note that in the 1980s and 1990s, the AK-47 was linked to the Provisional IRA and the Ulster Volunteer Force, UVF, in Ireland. Colonel Gaddafi of Libya supplied the Provisionals with AK-47s in a series of shipments through Wexford from 1985 to 1987, widely regarded as the worst intelligence mistake of the Troubles by Irish and British security services. Libya delivered nearly 150 tons of AK-47s, AK-74s, Taurus handguns, rocket launchers, surface-to-air missiles, and Semtex high explosive, all based on the idea that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The UVF received their rifles at the same time, following a circuitous route that took them through Israel and South Africa. In 2013, Fintan O'Toole's A History of Ireland in 100 Things chose a deactivated AK-47 from the National Museum of Ireland's collection as the 100th object, symbolizing the end of the Troubles and the 1998 peace agreement. You'll be interested in knowing that the rifle's brilliance isn't in its originality. It's basically a mashup of numerous different design concepts. Other weapons were greatly influenced by the trigger system, safety catch, spinning bolt, and gas-driven action. These characteristics, however, were combined with the platform that was known for its legendary endurance and low manufacturing costs. The end result was a light, easy-to-handle rifle with minimal recoil that yet put a lot of firepower in the hands of individual soldiers. The accuracy of the results was a secondary priority. The fact that it allowed soldiers to unleash massed fire in an effective manner set it apart from any other rifle before it, and, some would argue, since. Now let's look into the features of the AK-47. It featured a cyclic firing rate of 600 rounds per minute and was capable of semi-automatic and automatic fire. It was built around a 7.62mm bullet with a muzzle velocity of 700 meters per second. A separate gas return tube above the barrel held a piston that was forced back upon firing to activate the mechanisms that ejected the spent cartridge and cocked the hammer for the next round. A long, curved box magazine held 30 rounds, and a separate gas return tube above the barrel held a piston that was forced back upon firing to activate the mechanisms ejecting the spent cartridge and cocking the hammer for the next round. The AK-47 was produced in 2 basic models, one with a wooden stock and the other the AKS with a folding metal stock. The assault rifle and machine gun are the most often utilized small military arms. Their most distinguishing feature is that they are fully automatic, meaning that they will fire as long as the trigger is pulled and shots are in the magazine. This behavior separates small military arms from small civilian arms. The latter are semi-automatic, despite the fact that they are commonly, but incorrectly, referred to as automatic. Every time a round is fired from a small semi-automatic arm, the trigger must be pulled. The chambering of rounds and extraction are both automatic in a small semi-automatic arm of cartridges. The adjustable notched rear tangent iron sight is calibrated in hundreds of meters. The front sight is a post that can be adjusted in the field for elevation. The armory adjusts the windage before issuing the weapon. Out to roughly 250 meters, the battle setting places the round within a few centimeters above or below the point of aim, or 270 yards. This point-blank range option allows the shooter to fire at any nearby target without having to adjust the sights. Longer settings are designed to suppress a larger region. When the fire selector is set to safe, it works as a dust cover for the charging handle racetrack. This keeps dust and other contaminants out of the internal components. To shoot, the operator first inserts a loaded magazine, then lowers the selection lever, pulls back and releases the charging handle, and finally presses the trigger. The gun only fires once, semi-automatic, in this mode. Therefore, the trigger must be released and depressed again for the next shot. The weapon continues to fire, mechanically cycling fresh rounds into the chamber with the selector in the middle position, full automatic, until the magazine is empty or the trigger is released. A portion of the gases expanding behind each bullet is diverted into the gas tube above the barrel, where they contact the gas piston as it goes through the barrel. The operator dismantles the weapon by depressing the magazine catch and removing the magazine. The operator pulls the charging handle to the back and inspects the chamber to ensure the gun is unloaded. To remove the receiver cover, the operator presses forward on the retention button on the back of the cover while simultaneously raising up on the back of the cover. He then pulls the spring assembly forward and out of its raceway, pulling it out of the bolt carrier into the back. After that, the operator must pull the carrier assembly all the way back, lift it, and then pull it away. He pulls the bolt forward and frees it by pushing it to the back of the bolt carrier, rotating it till the camming lug clears the raceway on the underside of the bolt carrier. When cleaning, the operator should focus on the barrel, bolt face, and gas piston, then lightly oil them before reassembling. Produced at a low cost, it's small and light to carry, and it's simple to operate with little recoil. It also claims legendary dependability in difficult environments, ranging from flooded rainforests to Middle Eastern sandstorms, as well as extreme cold and heat. It also takes very minimal upkeep. This is due to the huge gas piston and extensive clearances between moving elements, which assist it in avoiding jamming. Kalashnikov used to brag about how much better his rifle was than the M16 rifle used by the US military. During the Vietnam War, American soldiers would throw away their M16s to obtain AK-47s and bullets from dead Vietnamese soldiers, he stated in a 2007 interview. And I hear that a lot from American soldiers in Iraq. The most common firearm in the world is also well suited to crime and terrorism. Kalashnikovs were used by the hostage takers who attacked the Olympic Village in Munich in 1972, while mass shooters in the United States have employed semi-automatic versions of the weapon in massacres in Stockton, California, and Dallas, Texas. The Soviet Union honored Kalashnikov with the Stalin Prize, the Red Star, and the Order of Lenin in recognition of his achievements. Russian President Vladimir Putin described the Kalashnikov rifle as an emblem of our people's creativity in 2007. At the age of 94, Kalashnikov died a national hero. Throughout much of his life, Kalashnikov refused attempts to hold him responsible for the countless deaths and injuries caused by his weapon. He maintained that he designed it for defense rather than offense. "I sleep well," he told a reporter in 2007 when he asked how he could sleep at night. Politicians are to blame for the failure to reach an accord and the use of violence. Yet, in the final year of his life, Kalashnikov may have experienced a change of heart. He wrote a letter to the head of the Russian Orthodox Church saying, "The pain in my soul is unbearable. I keep asking myself the same unsolvable question. If my assault rifle took people's lives, that means that I am responsible for their deaths." So that is all the time we had today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and do hit the bell icon to remain updated about all our future videos. See you all next time.